more on what that entails.
Mr. Chair, Trustee Castle, can you give me a little bit more information and I will find you an immediate answer?
Yeah, on the statement of financial positions, there's a specific item. It's under code 299.8.9 that says artwork, and it's under our liabilities and actually part of our total equity, I guess. So my apologies. I was thinking that this was under liabilities. I think we're good.
But I did find my item. The Jewett property, what is that? On that same page, page 3 at the very top, 2998.1.
Mr. Chair, if you would give me a
Statement of financial position, page 3. I've got it here if you want to look at it.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
if you would give me the duration of this meeting to research that account line, I would be happy to provide you a detail at the end.
Thank you. Thank you. Hearing no further discussion, I would entertain a motion for these two approvals on item number 4.
Seconded.
You can make the motion. I'm just
Apologies. Motion to approve the July 2025 financials as they stand.
thank you.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Hearing no further discussion, all in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. And for item B, please.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, please.
I move to approve the disbursement approvals for July 2025.
Thank you.
Seconded.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries. Up next is item number 5 on the agenda, our staff presentation for tonight.
Good evening, Mr.
Maybe it is. Good evening, Mr. Chair and trustees. Thank you for this invitation to come and talk to you about our Tech for Reentry program. My name is Jane. I'm the branch manager at Unbound. And this is Courtney, our business liaison librarian at Unbound. And we wanted to share with you about this program that we did this summer that was supported by a grant from the American Library Association. If you want to advance the slide, Dan, thank you. So just a little bit about the grant that we received. It's part of a larger initiative that ALA is undertaking to expand information access for incarcerated people. And so part of this initiative is a pilot program working with 4 libraries across the country to provide digital literacy classes for people who have been incarcerated. There are other parts of the grant that cover greater things, but this is the part that we were invited to take part of. It sounds like our collection development librarian Tally went to a session last year at the ALA conference and learned about this opportunity and expressed some interest. They reached out to us in late April and said, we're looking for one more library to be a part of this. If you can hurry and get something together and get a program done by the middle of August, we'll give you $20,000 to put together programs of this nature. And so we had a quick meeting together and we said, yes, we think we're a really great fit for that at Unbound. We do digital literacy all day, every day. That's something we're super excited about. And we had the capacity to scramble and make it happen. And so we got together to do that.
As far as outreach efforts go, the digital literacy fellow that came with the grant was able to do the majority of the outreach. We did utilize the contacts that we had made already. And then something that something that we were able to get out of this was several more contacts for reentry. And yeah, so I will give it back to you.
So we planned originally to have a class of about 10 people. We ended up over the course of a program with 8 total participants, which we were very happy about. Our digital literacy fellow had explained to us that the other larger library systems, Brooklyn Public Library, Los Angeles Public Library, Alameda County Library, the other ones who did this program, much, much larger library systems, had started their classes with about maybe 2 and sometimes ended up with 5 or 6 or 7 people. So we were very pleased to start out with 4 participants and end up with 8 by the end, knowing that we came in smaller and maybe a little bit less connected with reentry services generally. Our participants ranged from ages 18 to 66, and they were a lot of fun. They expressed a lot of interest in especially like Google applications and file management, but they also wanted to know about job resources, food and housing and education resources. It was so fun because one of our participants had some transportation issues, and so a family member would bring him early and right after we opened the library, and he would stay all day until the class started at 6 p.m. And while he was there all day, he got to tour the branch and learn all about our resources. We were able to help him with job searches. We helped him get a library card. He checked out stacks and stacks of business magazines and business books. We taught him how to use the sound studio, and he every time would book a session and go rap in there. And he said that was his favorite thing, was like going to the gym. It was really just like refreshed his soul, he said. And so we built really great and close relationships with a lot of these participants. One of our participants had a lot of tech background, had built computers early in his career, but had gotten older and tech had kind of passed him by. So there was a lot he didn't understand about how current applications work and how to do file management. So we were able to work with him, and he really appreciated that support.
Yeah, so here are the tech backpacks that we were able to purchase. We kind of had free reign over what we thought would be beneficial for the participants for the program. And this is what we decided would be kind of relevant towards them being able to utilize the knowledge that they learned in our program. So the Chromebooks, backpacks, headphones, which we already have. We had participants talking about, can we laser engrave the laptops and the headphones and all of that. External hard drive, which definitely came in handy. Most of them came in with an email, but completely full and not knowing how to transfer the data or get rid of it, make room to be able to get more emails. So we were able to focus on that portion of it. It's supposed to say SD card, but a micro SD card, USB HDMI cord, mouse, notebooks, pens. This whole session, including food for each program, totaled to a little under $5,000. So with that $20,000 grant, we're definitely able to do several more of these.
So we held 6 weeks of courses starting from the second week of June through the middle of July. And so you can kind of see our list of some of the things that we covered, but the digital literacy courses were meant to be really kind of basic stuff, like how to use a computer, what are the components of a computer, how do I browse the internet, how do I set up my new Chromebook that I just received, how do I do file navigation. But as we got to know the participants and got to find out what they really needed help with, we took our presentations that we and the digital literacy fellow had created and adjusted them to the needs of the course members so that we could spend more time on the parts that they actually wanted help with. And we were able to do this with the support of partners. We brought in speakers. Courtney's going to speak about that. We also had staff who came from all of the branches. So we wanted to do that. We wanted to make sure that not only Unbound had the opportunity to be part of this, but that we could invite library assistants and other staff to come be part of this. It's very satisfying to be able to help people with their tech stuff. And we just also thought it would be more helpful to our participants to have one-on-one support, not just be told what to do, but also have a guide to get through the steps. And so we did that with the support of other staff from the branches. And of course, our digital literacy fellow from San Francisco Public Library supported every session remotely. They zoomed in on every call, but also came and flew out for our first and last session to be able to support our program.
And I do want to mention that with these partners, we were the only library through their whole program that decided to bring in partners and have them come and speak each week. And I think this was a great way to get the community involved as well, and give them more contacts and connections, to be able to keep growing and building in our community. So, and being able to have different MLD staff there, we were able to do a one-on-one feel with all of the participants. So if they had specific projects that they were needing to work on or specific help that they were needing, we can keep moving and have them go at their own pace. And so that was really great, like Jane said, to get the whole staff involved with that. But these are a couple of our partners that we brought in. Some of them are local small business owners, like Tao and Noah. They were able to do kind of the cybersecurity, what to do, what not to do, in public, using public Wi-Fi, all of that, to be able to protect yourself. And then kind of a what is AI? And then we had Audra Green come in, who actually kickstarted the program when she was with MLD. She was able to build most of these connections, and make it to where, I guess it's a separate program, but it started the whole partnership with IDOC and MLD. So it was great to be able to bring her in, and she was able to speak on BSU resources that is open to the public. We had St. Vincent de Paul in there, as well as the Department of Labor, who was an amazing contact for these people to be able to build on their resume and find job assistance, and just a great contact for them to have. They really enjoyed having him in, as well as us. I enjoyed the presentation. And then we had CapEd, who did a kind of a financial literacy aspect, and they also have a relationship with IDOC as well. So, and then for the future programs, we did realize that with there not being a lot of public transportation in the Treasure Valley, that it made more sense to be able to bring this program to them versus them coming to us. So this is going to kind of turn into an outreach effort, and we've already spoke with St. Vincent de Paul to be able to continue this over there. And then we would definitely like to bring these resources into Canyon County and be able to build up those connections with us as well, to be able to kind of share those resources. And then the third one is undetermined, but there is a women's facility that has reached out to us requesting resources in Boise. So
Yeah, so since we've done the program, we've actually had some of our partners that we reached out to originally said, well, we weren't able to help the first time, but we're really interested if you do this again. We also had some individuals that from the different reentry services and things who said, I couldn't come the first time, but I really want to come again if you do this. And other libraries in our consortium said, please include us. We would like to be part of this as well. So we've been able to expand. We started with an initial list of connections of about 26 individuals and organizations, and we've definitely been able to expand that and have a better understanding of what our community needs and how to reach them better. So we had to do it all very quickly the first time, but we feel like we're much better prepared to roll this into another session. And we're very excited to continue to work with partners who have great resources that we think would be super helpful for these folks in reentry. So with that, we would love to open up the floor for questions that you have for us.
Thank you. Questions from trustees?
The first question I've got is there any follow-up with the participants post 6 weeks, right? It's great to, do some training with them, that kind of stuff, but I want to make sure that, after we let them out, not that they were forced to come to this, but that, that they, we follow up. Yeah.
So formally, no, but I will say, because we did build relationships with a lot of these individuals, they wanted more information from us. They voluntarily gave us their contact information. We have since seen a couple of the individuals who've come back because they were starting businesses and they wanted to meet with SCORE or talk with us about building a business plan. And so we've already seen some of them. We've got plans to see some of them. There's a relationship that we've been able to build. And so yes, formally no, informally yes.
Thank you.
Destiny, any questions?
Not a question, but a comment. Some of you may know I work in corrections. I work at IDOC, and this is such a good opportunity for them and such a way for them to connect with the community. So I'm very proud of MLD for taking this on.
Thank you.
I got a few questions. So LA, Brooklyn, Oakland, MLD, one of these things is not like the other. So how you said that attended a conference and this had come up and they reached out to us. Is that how it happened?
Yes, because we had already had some of our reentry efforts and working with the Idaho Department of Corrections, we already kind of had our foot in the door a little bit. And so because we attended that session, expressed our interest, the ALA grant they are funded by the Mellon Mellon Foundation. They were wrapping up this grant cycle and they needed a fourth library to be a pilot. And they were kind of like looking for somebody who had the capacity to do it at sort of short notice. We had already sort of had our foot in that door and had expressed interest. And they kind of just said, hey, long shot, but do you think you would be willing to hurry and do this? So that part of what this program is doing is they're doing a white paper to show some of the impacts of these sorts of programs to see if they want to expand it more generally. And so they needed a fourth participant on sort of short notice. And so you're right, we're not like the others, but we were kind of in the right place at the right time to step in and support that.
I will say as well, they did reach out to a different library before us, and their administration was not willing to look at the contract with such short notice, and ours was able to be able to sit down and look at it, send it to the lawyers, and be able to and back it and approve it. And so it did make it to where we were able to do that. So.
Our digital literacy fellow mentioned several times that because of the support of our admin, we were able to be successful. And they were very, very grateful for that connection and that unity that we had as a district.
It's nice to see a smaller, compared to those other libraries, a smaller library like us playing in the big leagues. That's nice. Yeah. Courtney, I had a question for you. You said, I'm trying to look at my notes here and see what I meant. Something about future contacts. Is that?
Yeah. Oh, towards the beginning?
Yes.
Yes. So for the outreach efforts?
Yes.
Yes. So Estelle is the digital literacy fellows. Yes. They were able to do a majority of the outreach and did a lot of research and digging into who would be interested and who could help spread the word. And so we ended with this long spreadsheet full of new contacts for us to be able to utilize going forward.
Community partners and such?
Yes. Okay. Community partners, mainly community partners. So
great. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Anybody else?
Yeah, so I saw the future goals there and, commendable. I guess the question for me is where do the funds come from? Because I just think the quick math, right? Someone goes, okay, $20,000, $4,500 per backpack, 8 people. Okay.
So let me
Yeah.
Pardon me. So $4,500 was the entire outlay for all of the programs, so not per backpack. So that was for 10 participants, which obviously we didn't use all of them. So we have some we can roll into the next. So for the whole course, the whole program that we ran this time, it was under $5,000. So with the $20,000 total that we received, if we do it the same way with the same expenses, we think we can do 3 more rounds of this with the money we've already gotten.
Awesome. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you so much for coming tonight.
Thank you.
Up next on the agenda is our director updates. Mr. Grove.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I am pulling it up so that I can actually see my notes while I talk this time. And I am happy to have had the Unbound people here. Vasile and I will always have a soft spot in our heart for Unbound since we spent a fair amount of time there, and very commendable with the work that they are doing, especially with the re-entry. Wanted to start off tonight with the Cherry Lane renovation since that is the biggest thing happening in the district right now. We officially closed on August 9th, and we have as of today, almost completely emptied the building with anything that is not going to go into storage. We've had staff in there for several weeks. We have had 2 different types of movers in there to help get rid of large, heavy things, and we're doing quite well in emptying it out. It looks very different in there, very echoey if you go in there without any furniture of any kind. So the staff have been redistributed to other branches largely, and the ones that have not are currently working in special projects or outreach efforts. We currently have the CZC approved by the city, which is the Certificate of Zoning Compliance, and we're finalizing hopefully the next couple days the building permit to allow them to get in there. But we already have demolition permits, and so that will begin the demolition of the annex building before the end of the month. So hopefully by the end of the first week of October, we'll have the annex site completely torn down and going. And I'll talk about it more next month because it happened this month. But part of the demolition of Cherry Lane was started for us as well. We had an accident where a community member accidentally created a new window opening for us in the south side of the building with their car. So bit of an accident. We're working on figuring out what to do next. So it's part of being at MLD. So I'm glad no one was there, because that is right where our pages typically worked at Cherry Lane, processing incoming returns. So everyone was safe. Wall, not so much. So with the staff that have been moving, one of the things that they've been able to do is help us with home delivery. We lost one of our home delivery drivers in late July as he went off to college. And so we've been thankfully been able to utilize staff from Cherry Lane to help offset that vacancy while we get a new driver. And they're also looking at revamping the service so that it continues to run efficiently and effectively. And they have been extremely busy with the closure of Cherry Lane. We've seen those numbers go up. The demand for it has risen, and we've also been able to use staff in other areas such as strategic planning. We have 2 staff from Cherry Lane that are working on all things strategic plan related. And so because we have decided to do the strategic plan in-house, having some dedicated staff to that has immensely helped our ability to get that moving, as you will see hopefully online and in our branches. We are doing a community survey currently. We have a short form and a long form version, and then we will be doing focus groups with different members of the community in, I believe, October is when we're targeting to have those focus groups. So between the focus groups and the survey and our demographic research, we will be gathering all of that together to compile our new strategic plan that we hope to have to you in December is our penciled in goal, but that's a lot of work to pull together in a fairly short amount of time. So that's our target, but we'll see how the information kind of comes together. One of the tools that we now have at our disposal for the strategic plan and for purposes of program and outreach planning is a platform called Library IQ. It is a database that will allow us to integrate with the ILS, so the system that we use to check in and out books, things like that. That will be integrated, but we also have a demographic platform or module that goes with the platform that will allow us to consolidate all of our statistics in one spot and we'll be able to provide better insight with the services that we're providing to the community, and how we can improve what we do and how we do it. Again, home delivery has been extremely busy, and material services has been exceptionally busy in the month of August. Cherry Lane had almost 100,000 items, and we had to move all of it. And a lot of it got moved into boxes to go into storage that will go back into the Cherry Lane branch. We'll also, hopefully, we'll talk about this on the next action item, to make the items available during the closure by having them housed in a warehouse. But we also distributed a lot of materials to Orchard Park, Pinnacle, and a few to Unbound. And we revamped the collection within the bookmobile. And so the shelves here are very full. We're looking at new shelves coming in December to help improve some of the flow here. And the home delivery services is not only about delivering items to the patrons in our community, but it also allows us to move materials between branches. And so between the increase of home delivery itself, but also our internal courier, those drivers have been extremely busy. And I'm going to try to run through some of this on a slide here in a minute, but the patron count has gone up a lot. I know the two in the audience can attest to the amount of people that they've seen come in to Unbound, many for the very first time once Cherry Lane closed. Their numbers are 30 to 80% above where they were last year on a day-to-day count. And that's pretty typical of our other branches. In particular, Orchard Park, they've seen a big increase, especially in terms of the number of bins that get delivered through the Lynx courier system, because they're processing not only Orchard Park materials, but they're also processing returns that would have gone to Cherry Lane, home delivery, and bookmobile items as well. So they're seeing a big increase in the amount of items, but also the number of people that are coming into these branches. And one of the things that we did when we moved staff is we increased the number of pages that we have here at Orchard Park, but also at Pinnacle as well, to help be able to get the materials back on the shelves more quickly. Our foundation was able to get a $1,000 grant from the, I'm going to have to read it so that I don't mispronounce it, Aplos, Raisley, and Keeley, and is part of a Champions of Change campaign. And our foundation was one of the lucky winners to get $1,000 in that inaugural initiative. And I could run through all these, but these are all in the report, so I won't belabor it too much. But our teams have been incredibly busy, especially going out into the community with the end of summer reading program out at Pinnacle, the STEM day at the fair that Unbound kind of led, but was participated with members of other branches as well. It's something I think we've been doing for I want to say the last 9 years, probably, maybe 10 years. And I was talking to one of the Cherry Lane librarians about the programs that they're doing out in the community yesterday. And their story time had, I think, 45 people at Story Park. And they're finding just phenomenal support from the community in attending these events out in the community. And it really goes to what we've been building on for the last several years of a program is a program, regardless of if it's inside of our four walls or if it's outside in the community. We need to go where people are and provide services regardless of being in a building or not in a building. Our goal and our mandate is to serve the people of Meridian with library services to the best of our ability, and our staff are going above and beyond in demonstrating that. So very proud of the work that they're doing out in the community, but also in partnering with various community partners and presenters, as we saw tonight with the tech program for reentry at Unbound. And that is all I have for director updates. Happy to take questions.
Thank you, Mr. Grove. Questions from trustees?
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so a question I had on the director's update, there was a spot that talked about how we've been donating items to other organizations. I think that's great. One thing that I'd like a little bit more transparency on is essentially what's being donated where, right? Not that I imagine it's all going to very good causes and things like this. I just think that it's good for the accounting side.
So I can have Emma chime in with this. I will say, out of 100,000, nearly 100,000 circulating items and 28 years of furniture, fixtures, and equipment, there are thousands of items that have been moved in the last few weeks. To give a rundown of every single one, we have all of that accounted for, but in terms of putting it into a report, doesn't exactly translate all that well for this environment. But we would, if you'd like us to provide you with that document, I'm sure we could accommodate that.
Mr. Chair, I don't think I need a rundown of every single item. I liked a little bit of that same kind of pie graph that you gave that said, oh, hey, here's where this went, here's where this went. Just something so that the board can have a better concept of where objects are going, right? I'm sure they're going to good causes and things like that. And I don't feel the need to have a deep level of insight. But when someone says, hey, I've donated all the shelves, I don't know if that means I donated $5,000, I donated 20,000, it's just a question of where things are going and what we've given.
Mr. Chair,
Emma, go ahead, please.
Trustee Castle, we will be going through our inventory with a fine-tooth comb for our annual audit. Additionally, as the library disposes any assets, we follow best practice in Idaho government, which is surplusing to 501c3s, other governments, selling via a public sale where everyone is welcome, and or just final disposal items. So we do follow best practice, and we will have an annual inventory with a very thorough count of all the capital assets.
I appreciate that.
Other questions? Anything distinct?
Mr. Chair.
Yes, please.
So one thing that I kind of never, and I don't know if I've ever asked for it, but one thing I've looked at as we start to build and that kind of stuff is just whether or not any information on if these new buildings and things can withstand weather events, right? Don't need it today, right? But sometimes I look at a building like this with all this glass and I go, could this handle a tornado, right? I imagine it could. I imagine this glass is all very, strong and all this kind of stuff, but I don't have any actual knowledge to that effect. So any information on that would be good.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
would be happy to look at that as a component of our facility master or comprehensive plan that we plan on doing in 2026. That information would not be something I have readily available and at hand today, or could get within a very short amount of time. I would want to make sure that I'm speaking correctly on that. So to do that, it would be best done with the facility comprehensive plan.
Mr. Chair, I think that's fine. Really, my intention is to make sure that as we build, another building and this kind of stuff, we're being cognizant of unique things that can occur, right? As we see, a car can even hit a location, right? So just thinking about these things. So thank you.
That's why we have insurance too.
Thank you.
Nick, you talked about the library IQ software, and you said it would consolidate statistics, including demographic statistics. Can you give me a couple specific examples what that means? Like when I turn in a book, you would say, oh, this was a 50 something
No, so
patron or
no, so demographics, that is really looking at community demographics, not like circulation demographics.
Okay.
So it helps us compile the demographics that are out there from the U.S. Census, the Compass, some of these other places where we can compile all of this information that's out there into one place that is usable for us, and putting it into context of library services. And
so to say we had X thousand visitors last week and our city demographics is a city of 130,000 or whatever it might be, and put those together. Is that right?
correct.
Okay.
And we can use non-personalized information from the ILS to help us understand, what collections are moving this period of time in the year. Do we see spikes of this, or are we seeing a trend towards large print being checked out at this location but not this location? So we can see some of those trend points that are a little harder for us to analyze manually.
Okay. Thank you. If there's no other questions or comments, we'll move on to item number 7, which is an action item. This is a discussion and approval of a lease agreement for a warehouse and office. Nick, we'll turn that over to you too, please.
Mr. Chair, I did have one more.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Mr. Chair, I saw in the Orchard Park section that says that we have a RAV4. I'm just curious on if that's part of our home delivery system or kind of what that vehicle's used for.
Mr. Chair, Trustee Castle, every branch has a vehicle to be able to do outreach. We started transitioning to RAV4s a couple of years ago. The final vehicle that has not been replaced was here at Orchard Park, but has now transferred to the Cherry Lane Team 1. That is a 2009 Dodge van, I believe. I'm doing that one off the top of my head. Honda van. Okay. We've had a few different ones over the years. That van will be replaced with a RAV4 when we get closer to reopening Cherry Lane. All of the RAV4s, the 3 that we have for Unbound, Orchard Park, and Pinnacle, are wrapped or currently in the process of being wrapped with the branding that is similar to the home delivery vans. It's a little bit different, but very similar. And staff use those to go to outreach programs, to travel between the branches, to go to meetings throughout the community. They will also be using 2 of them to travel to the Idaho Library Association conference next month. And so we do that so that staff are not using their own vehicles during work time to do library related work, and we don't have to do mileage reimbursement at that point because it's library vehicles. But it also, by branding them, allows us to have passive marketing opportunities and visibility throughout the community by having the one brand identity on our vehicles.
Awesome. Thank you, Director and Mr. Chair.
All right, Nick, let's go ahead with number 7, please.
All right. So, Mr. Chair, we brought to you a lease option last month. We're still entertaining that. But if we go forward with what we're talking about tonight, we would not go forward with that one that you had approved us going forward with last month. The reason that we're bringing this option is the first warehouse that we looked at was really intriguing because of its proximity, its price, and its availability. The availability being that we would be able to move in last week, I think is the initial terms. Those terms had changed when we got closer to going from a letter of intent to a contract. That contract was going to put us into November before we were able to get in, which doesn't meet our timeline. And so when we heard that, we went back out and began working with our realtor to see what other options are out there for us. The option that we are bringing tonight will allow us to consolidate our admin office, our Main Street office that has our material services team, the warehouse that we were looking at, our storage unit, and our 8 storage pods, and also the items that we have in the basement at City Hall in correlation with the History Center. This facility would be a long-term solution for us versus kind of the ad hoc approach that we've done when we initially moved out of Cherry Lane, which was really about speed to get space is available, and we knew like what we're currently in was always going to be short term, and we need something where we can house all of our things, but also a place where staff are able to actually work. We have several people that have to work from home currently because we do not have the office space for them. And so what we're proposing now is a place to be able to consolidate everything, where we can have, what I think I used the term last time, a ghost kitchen for our collection while Cherry Lane's closed. But when Cherry Lane opens, we'll be able to essentially have the equivalent shelf space of Cherry Lane with, I think, a 30th of the employees to staff the collection. As you know, when you look at our budget, 70% of our expenditures are staff related. And so if we can maintain more service availability, but have a fraction of the staff to do it, that will allow us to continue providing more services to the public by making those materials available without the annual cost of the staff, which for a branch typically is going to start us at about $1 million just for the staff alone to staff a building of people. So trying to do as much as we can without having a long overhead from a personnel standpoint. So that's kind of where we're at.
And so the details on this were in our packets tonight. Some of the
we just got the contract back today, so it's been a moving target, but we're trying to move as quickly as we can to get it aligned with the fiscal year.
Has Holly Troxel seen the contract?
Yes, kind of.
Okay.
Okay, it's in their possession.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't
sign.
We don't do anything without the go ahead of legal.
Okay.
So we brought it here for you all to give us the go ahead, but the contract will not be signed unless legal signs off on it being a sound contract.
Right.
We feel that it's well worth the money to spend on attorneys to do it correctly.
So just can you go over just some of the terms? So what's the how long of a lease is it? And then this will replace the admin office and the Main Street office, which are currently under lease. When do those leases end for those facilities?
So those leases are set to expire at the end of the upcoming fiscal year. So it'd be September this time, almost this time next year. Okay. If we are able to consolidate, we will attempt to work with the landlords of those facilities on an exit strategy that would hopefully be before that, but contractually we might not be able to. Okay. By having at least one of those through the end of the fiscal year, however, it would allow us to keep the Cherry Lane staff in an office space that is not doubled up as an admin space like we're currently doing. So looking at what that could be, because we don't know what those options are. We don't want to burn bridges till we have somewhere to land.
Right.
But the terms of the contract for this is 5 years and a 3% escalation each year, which is pretty typical of a commercial space. And it is 5 years, but it is also set up to be 1 year. It's essentially 5 1-year leases that a 5-year, it's a 1-year lease that auto renews for a 5-year term, because we can't appropriate any money beyond what is there for that fiscal year. So you all have appropriated the money for leases within the operating budget of the fiscal year that starts in a couple of weeks on October 1st. We actually built this money in to the budget, not knowing what options were going to be out there, but knowing that we needed something to be available within that fiscal year. And so the terms are $15 and some odd cents per square foot per year. And then it's 33 to 38 cents per square foot per year for triple net, which will cover a lot of the service aspects of it, with the exception of things like janitorial and things of that nature. And so we are looking at a space that this space is a little over 15,000 square feet total, with 5 of that being office and 10,000 of that being warehouse. The good thing with this space that unlike the smaller warehouse, this will allow us to park the bookmobile inside, and it will give us the storage space for all of the district resources, things for supplies to be able to have on hand for the branches, and then all of the collections that we have, and the space for staff. And so it allows us to maximize everything by having it together.
Questions from trustees?
Mr. Chair, so Director, I'm just trying to follow along with the thought process of how this would help us reduce headcount, and I'll just tell you maybe where I'm getting lost. So someone says to me, Garrett, I'm opening up another facility in a year and some from now. I'm going to have my initial facility reopen. My knee-jerk reactions go, great, cool. I'm still going to need to staff the Cherry Lane branch. I'd now need to staff the Ghost Kitchen. Right. And so I see increase there, but it's likely that I have a flaw in my logic. So help me understand what you're thinking.
Yes, Trustee Garrett, Castle. The logic on that is that we will be utilizing staff that we already have that are not part of the Cherry Lane structure whatsoever. The staffing that is needed for a ghost collection like this is to put the books away and to retrieve books from the shelves. There's no public facing component to it. And so because there's no public facing component, that accounts, there's no programs, there's management, like it's only putting the books away. You only need 1 to 3 pages essentially to do that. Whereas at a branch, you have 6 pages plus you have 12 to 10 to 20 library assistants. You have 2 to 4 associate librarians, 2 librarians, two supervisors, and a manager. So we can do it with an incredibly small amount of people to put the books away and to retrieve those books off the shelves.
Can I take a shot at it too?
Yes.
So we had this discussion last month on the previous property, so I've got a little more time to think about it. So essentially what this does, Garrett, is it allows us to have essentially another branch facility with books and materials, everything that would go into that branch without opening to the public branch. And so we'd have more materials for the community to use. It's unlikely that we'll be able to build a new branch anytime soon in a traditional branch fully staffed, but in this way we'd have space for materials that can still circulate among the active branches, the public facing branches, with just a skeleton crew to actually move books in and out. Am I accurate in that?
Correct. It also allows us to weed more slowly because we have extremely limited shelf space across all of our branches. As we put in new materials, we have to remove materials to put materials onto the shelf. That's just the nature of how this business works. But with this, we can pull those materials off the shelves at the branches, but it can live in the warehouse collection as long as it still meets our collection guidelines. It also does something important for me, which is we can maintain series a lot more cleanly than we can now, because right now we have to make a decision on if this is a 12 book series and we lose book 2 because it fell in a toilet. These are all hypotheticals.
Sure they are.
Now, do we buy book 2? Do we not buy book 2? And now we have a hole in the collection for that series and hope that someone else in the consortium has it. Or do we get rid of books 1 through 12 entirely because the collection or the series is kind of not very helpful without book 2. So we have to make some really weird and hard choices. This allows us to have more flexibility in how we address that question, assuming we can still buy book 2.
Okay.
Thank you, Director and Chair. One thing that I kind of just struggled with on this contract, and this could just be my ignorance, I'm trying to see like just a figure. Like, okay, this is the general cost that this will be, right? Because I'm sure it's a great property. I just have no concept of the other side of the house, right? So
I'll try and answer that. So it is with commercial properties, it's based on the square footage of the building. And so like that one, I think it says like $1 something, which comes out to $15.36 per square foot per year. So if you do 1536 times 15,170 or whatever that number is, you're going to get your number, which is going to be, I think 294 or something like that, 294,000 plus the triple net, which is 33 cents per year per square foot, which is, or 30, it was 33. And so that comes out to like another 34,000, I believe, which puts us right in the 320. I can't do the math that fast in my head. I might pass this over to Emma, who actually has numbers in front of her, so she can help me. But
Mr. Chair, Trustee Castle, Director Grove, I have your spreadsheet here, so I'll just go ahead and read from your spreadsheet if that's okay with you. So what we're looking at is a per square foot per year base lease of $15.60. That's $1.30 per month, as Director Grove mentioned. Triple nets right now of 33 cents per square foot per month. That's a total of $3.96 per month. So a total per square foot per month of $19.56. When you take that multiplied by the 15,176 square feet, you get a total annual entry year cost for year one of $296,842.56. So right at the $296,000 mark. Director Grove, does that? Yeah. Okay.
sorry, I was trying to go off memory. That was not smart.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you.
And just for the record too, so we are going to be able to consolidate and eliminate a storage unit, the pods, and also help the city hall to get that collection moved out of their space, which is increasingly an issue.
Correct.
Okay.
So to touch on the city hall part, we're working with them to renew our memorandum of agreement or our contract with them, essentially. And we're hopeful that we can maintain the downstairs space. And we'll keep the upstairs space, the public use space of the history collection as long as we can over there. But they do have other needs. And so we will be working closely with them to vacate that space as they need us to. But if we have the warehouse, we won't need the basement, which is currently storing a lot of the things from the history collection and a few other of the library's items as well. So that will allow us to get out of the city hall, the storage unit, which is I think a little over $4,000 a year. Storage pods we have 8 of. If we were to keep that until Cherry, that's around $4,000 there. Main Street office, about 50 there. The Main Street office, which is another 40 or so, lets us get out of there. And we, like I said, we're already, no matter what we do, we need to get more space for the admin facility. We're tripled up in some offices that don't have the room for tripling up. Yeah, we have, I think, 6 people actually sharing one office, with Jenny being the only person who's actually there full time. The other 3 just have to kind of rotate and hope for a hot desk. So it does get a little tight.
Okay. So the action item would be to authorize the director to enter the lease
Correct.
pending legal approval or
Yes.
finishing the due diligence, including legal approval. Is that right?
I'll let Emma jump in. She's our contract guru.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, that is correct. One point of order for record, please, is that the appropriation for this lease, just for you all to know, and if it could be part of the motion, that would be great, is coming from the operations budget that you all approved at the last meeting.
Meaning the monies are there.
Correct.
Let me make sure that I understand, Mr. Chair. The appropriation that was not from the last meeting, but from the annual budget
hearing.
meeting.
Yeah.
That, I guess that was the last meeting. That's all the same. Never mind. My bad. These days are running together. I was seeing them in my head as 2 completely different days. You're both right. My bad. I retract.
Go ahead.
Mr. Chair, Director Grove, I'm just glad it wasn't me this time. I'll take the win. Yeah. So you all budgeted a healthy appropriation for operations. This lease will come out of the operations appropriation.
Okay. With that, I would entertain a motion. Do we have a motion and somebody brave enough to try to word it?
I would like to make the motion that we appropriate from the general operations fund for the proposed lease pending legal approval,
And authorize the director to enter into that lease.
and authorize the director to enter into the lease.
Thank you.
Second.
Good. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. That was complicated. Item number 8 on our agenda tonight is future agenda items for next month's meeting or any other meetings in the near future. Trustee Castle, go ahead.
Mr. Chair, I think some of the items that I brought forward during the director's update probably best fit here, right? Where I talked about maybe just some concept of donation, even if it's not comprehensive or, well, just some concept of it, right? And then some concept I know that we have of just of facilities for in the event of a weather event. So.
Any other items?
Just the Cherry Lane renovation. I'm just making sure from my perspective, we're building a new building. I'm sure that prior to my time, someone has gone through this, right? And said, hey, we've made sure. But given I wasn't here, I would like the update. Yeah. So, thank you.
I would just say we're not going to get a building permit without, or occupancy permit without some of those things too. Yeah. Okay. Or insurance. All of those things fall into place. Yes. Okay. Nick, I'm sure there's regular October items that are on the agenda that'll that we'll get to next month as well?
Yes,
Okay.
we have a few items that have been pushed from this month for job descriptions and policies. So we are currently in the process of shifting a few of those around for September, October, November to consolidate them into October, November, so that we don't overburden you with 1 month, but to make sure that we kind of match them up so that they go together in an orderly fashion, just to maintain our annual review of all job descriptions and policies.
Great. And with that, that brings us to the end of our agenda. It is 8:04 and we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.